Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're opening up a stack of sources centered on, well, an incredibly simple question. Just 3 words.
Right. A phrase that really defined the spiritual interactions of Abdu'l Bahá.
Exactly. The son of Baha'u'lláh. This was during his travels through the West, early 20th century.
And we're exploring happiness, but maybe not in the way people usually think about it.
Not just feeling good, right? More like a profound spiritual necessity.
It's fascinating because this figure, traveling across continents with a revolutionary message, he didn't often lead with complex ideas or rules.
No. What was the approach then?
He often began with this disarming singular question: are you happy?
Just like that.
Just like that. It seems it was his signature opening, whether he was talking to, say, dignitaries or someone really struggling.
And our sources from the Hale Institute, they really zero in on this. They say it wasn't casual small talk.
No, not at all. They frame it as a deliberate spiritual strategy.
A spiritual strategy? What does that mean exactly?
It means it wasn't just checking a box. It was like a planned intervention, you could say, aimed at achieving something specific inside the person and, well, socially too.
Like a doorway.
Yes. A doorway he chose to immediately get to the core state of the listener, and importantly, to remind them of the essence of his father's message about unity.
Okay, so if we unpack that, a spiritual strategy, it sounds like he was trying to sort of recalibrate people's spiritual compass.
That's a great way to put it. The core idea seems to be that happiness isn't just a nice feeling you get after you solve all your problems.
Or a luxury you might get around to eventually.
Exactly. It's presented as the fundamental foundational setting for a healthy soul. It's where you start.
That connection between the message itself and joy is powerful. How did this greeting, actually play out in real life?
Well, the sources point to a really significant public moment, a time when the real weight of this question became clear.
You mean the anecdote from Philadelphia, where he addressed a large congregation?
That's the one. And this wasn't a small private chat. This is a public statement about his mission.
So he starts with this question, but with a sense of, spiritual urgency.
Precisely. The transcript of that address really shows the purpose behind it. He asks the question and then immediately links it to his whole reason for being there.
What did he say exactly?
He started, "Are you happy?" Then right away, "I have come here to make you happy. I have come here to give you the message of Baha'u'lláh, that this message may become the cause of your happiness."
Wow.
And then he adds this beautiful image, like unto a dove, I carry a message with me wherever I go.
So he's literally putting his mission and the listener's happiness in the very same breath.
He's establishing an unbreakable link, essentially saying, look, my purpose here, why I'm standing in front of you, is to give you a fundamental source of joy.
It forces you to stop and think.
Absolutely. It demanded that the listener pause, reflect on their inner state right then and there. It established that joy isn't, an afterthought. It's central to the whole spiritual quest.
That tactic really defined the conversation from the get-go.
From the very first breath.
Okay, let's unpack this strategy a bit more then. If this was his main tactic, his cornerstone for interacting with people, why happiness? Why was that so fundamentally vital?
Right. Why not start with, say, justice or unity directly?
Yeah. Our sources seem to suggest 4 main reasons why he saw happiness as just necessary for the soul.
They do. And these 4 pillars really explain why this was such a profound move, not just sentimental.
Okay, what's the first one?
First, he saw happiness as a sign of spiritual health. Basically, joy shows that a heart isn't just working, but working as intended, aligned with its divine purpose.
So if the heart feels heavy,
then something's blocking the light. It's almost like a diagnostic tool prompting you to look within.
I get that, like a spiritual pulse check.
Exactly. The second pillar. Happiness acts as a gift to others.
How so?
Well, this turns your inner state into a kind of external service. Your sources mention that one person's genuine, radiant happiness can actually uplift a whole group.
Oh, yeah, you feel that sometimes.
Right. It can dissipate gloom, generate positive energy. We've all met someone like that whose inner state just shifts the whole atmosphere in a room. That's the gift.
And the third point, it seems to flow from the interaction itself.
Yes, the question itself creates a practice of kinship. By genuinely stopping and asking, are you happy? You cut through the usual surface-level chat.
You bypass the social niceties?
Completely. Yeah. You dissolve those immediate barriers, and you signal that you actually care deeply about the other person's inner life. It forges this instant connection.
Okay, and the fourth one, this sounds maybe the most challenging.
It is, arguably.
Yeah.
This practice is seen as a training of the soul. It forces us to recognize that real lasting joy isn't dependent on, the chaos and ups and downs of the world.
It's not about circumstances.
It's about the soul's eternal relationship with its creator. It helps separate that authentic, deep joy from just conditional pleasure, things that make you feel good for a moment.
But hang on, I need to push back a little here. For someone listening today, this idea that joy is independent of circumstances, that it's a training, it could sound a bit like spiritual bypassing.
That's a really important point.
Like, how do we make sure this focus on inner joy doesn't just ignore real problems? Poverty, injustice, things that understandably make people miserable.
That's a crucial distinction to make. The message isn't about denying pain or pretending problems don't exist. It's about identifying the true source of spiritual energy, the kind that sustains you through the pain.
Okay.
The strategy is to root your core spiritual joy in truths that can't be shaken by external events, like your connection to God, your inherent nobility, your purpose. These things are impervious to financial trouble or political storms.
So it's not ignoring the storm.
No, it's about knowing your anchor holds fast, even when the storm rages. It's about where you place your ultimate dependency.
That makes sense. Shifting where you anchor yourself. So let's get to the crunch question about that anchor. What happens when the answer to, are you happy, is inevitably sometimes no, or when the person is clearly grieving?
Yeah, that must have happened often.
Eyewitness accounts suggest that because the question was so sincere, so vulnerable, it actually caused many people to just break down in tears right there.
And apparently, he never pulled back from that. He welcomed the tears, showed deep compassion. Sometimes accounts say he physically wiped them away.
So it wasn't about suppressing sorrow.
Not at all. His approach made it crystal clear. The spiritual journey isn't about denying suffering or pretending it doesn't hurt.
But then what? After the tears?
Then he offered that profound reassurance, the phrase that recontextualized the pain. He would often say something like, yes, weep on, beyond the tears is sunshine.
Beyond the tears is sunshine. That's powerful.
It reframes everything. Suffering isn't a sign you failed or that you're off track. It's part of the process. It's temporary.
So it reframes suffering not as a dead end or some kind of punishment, but as preparation.
It's exactly preparation. Can we linger on that idea for a moment?
Yeah.
The sources give a really beautiful analogy for this transformation.
Please, yeah.
He taught that suffering is actually essential for our advancement, not just something unfortunate that happens. There's this powerful analogy from his talks in Paris. The mind and spirit of man advance when he is tried by suffering.
Okay.
The more the ground is plowed, the better the seed will grow.
Ah, the plowed ground. Let's analyze that image. The plowing itself, the suffering.
Yeah.
It's disruptive, it hurts, it breaks things up.
It does. It breaks up the hard earth, maybe our complacency, our old habits, the things we haven't examined.
So hardship cracks the surface, maybe our self-absorption or pride. It creates space.
That's the idea. If the ground stays hard, packed down, unbroken.
Yeah. Well, the seeds of new understanding, of virtue, spiritual insight, they just can't take deep root. They certainly can't blossom.
So suffering in this view isn't something to just avoid at all costs. No, it's seen as the necessary friction. Like the fire that purifies gold, it allows a more resilient, a deeper, more authentic joy to eventually spring forth.
So the synthesis here is that joy and pain aren't opposites, but maybe companions on the same path.
Precisely. The pain can actually make the joy that follows more profound, more rooted.
That temporary external trial, when you look at it this way, serves the soul's eternal internal growth.
That's the perspective, yes.
Okay, this raises a huge question then. If true joy, this deep joy, is impervious to temporary trials and external stuff, where does it actually come from?
Right. If it's not from having a perfect life.
Yeah. And if the answer is rooted in the message of Baha'u'lláh, as he said, what is it about that message that creates this unquenchable happiness?
Well, the message itself seems designed to address the deepest, most ancient anxieties humans face. Things like loneliness, uncertainty about life, feelings of meaninglessness, and despair about the world.
And it provides answers or certainties.
Exactly. It provides 4, you could say, unshakable spiritual certainties, things that hardship just can't touch.
Okay, what's first?
First, it delivers the reality of the unity of humanity. This is the antidote to that profound loneliness we can all feel.
Knowing we belong together.
Yes, the certainty that we're all part of one single family. Remember that quote. The earth is but one country, and mankind its citizens. Realizing that brings an immediate deep joy and security. It dissolves all the yes, us, first them thinking.
That's a huge stabilizer, especially in today's fragmented world.
It really is. Second, the message provides the certainty of divine love. Just the realization that your soul, your true self, is cherished by a loving creator, eternally, unconditionally.
That's a powerful wellspring.
It's perhaps the ultimate source of happiness, and that knowledge can't be taken away by any external loss or failure.
Okay, third.
Third, it defines our purpose and dignity. Life isn't just random or arbitrary. The understanding that every single soul has a noble mission, a unique spiritual path that fills the heart with meaning. It defeats that sense of meaninglessness.
Everyone matters. Everyone has a role.
Exactly. And fourth, there's the powerful promise of a new world. This is the cure for despair.
Hope for the future.
Yes. The vision that humanity, despite all the chaos we see, is actually destined for peace, for justice, for spiritual maturity. Knowing that gives context to present struggles. It fills the heart with an unshakable hope.
So if you grasp these four truths,
Then you found a foundation for joy that, well, temporary events just can't really erode.
so let's bring this home. What does this entire spiritual strategy mean for us today? In our modern, often rushed lives, asking, how are you, is almost always just rhetorical, isn't it?
It usually is, yeah, a polite formality.
So what's the risk, maybe, but also the reward of genuinely leading a conversation today with, are you happy?
Well, it offers a potentially radical, transformative practice. When you consciously substitute that automatic, superficial greeting with this deep, focused question, you immediately change the dynamic.
How so?
You're signaling something different. You're saying, I care less about your schedule right now and more about your inner world.
And that takes vulnerability, doesn't it, on both sides?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
To ask it sincerely, you have to be prepared to really listen to the answer, whatever it is.
So what are the impacts then? The subtle ones?
They can be enormous. In a society that often feels quite superficial, it affirms to both people involved that inner happiness matters, that it's worth pausing for.
It validates that inner life.
Exactly. It provides that subtle reminder, maybe to both of you, that joy is partly a choice, it's a gift, maybe even a responsibility. And it can instantly soften those social walls we put up.
Those walls we use for protection.
Right. It can transform just an ordinary rushed encounter into something potentially meaningful, a spiritual exchange, even if brief.
And ultimately, it circles back to that idea you mentioned earlier that happiness is a collective thing too,
Yes.
not just personal.
Yes, back to that quote where he said, I want you to be happy, to laugh, smile, and rejoice in order that others may be made happy by you.
So your happiness isn't just for you.
It's also a service. Happiness, viewed through the spiritual lens, is anything but trivial or fluffy. It's sacred.
It's the training of the soul, as you said, and also a powerful way to serve the world.
It becomes the ultimate method of genuine human engagement, perhaps.
So a final thought for our listeners then. If asking, are you happy, is really a deliberate act of love, one that can soften those social walls and maybe train our own souls to awaken to a deeper, more eternal joy. What barriers in others, or maybe even in yourself, might you dissolve the next time you genuinely pose this simple, profound question, not just to a close friend, but perhaps even to a stranger?